What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Floyd Mayweather just destroyed Jake Paul after he rejected the Conor McGregor fight, and it was a sight to see. Jake is building his career by cherry-picking old guys and former UFC fighters. Well, that's a cool strategy. But when he turned down McGregor, Floyd couldn't hold back any longer.
As long as he continued to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Mayweather, a legend who built his career on fighting the best, wasted no time calling Jake out for being a cherry picker. No matter how safely he's playing by choosing older guys but ducking McGregor, that's a whole new level of cowardice.
But for what he's doing, as long as they keep getting YouTubers and keep putting them in there with MMA guys, that's kind of over the hill, he's gonna continue to shine.
Jake Paul is the self-proclaimed savior of boxing, right? The guy who's single-handedly redefining the sport by carefully dodging anything that looks like an actual challenge. And now, with his recent rejections of Andrew Tate and Conor McGregor, well, he's proving once again that his strategy isn't bravery, it's branding.
I don't have 50 million to bet with you, but I do have 3 million to bet with you. So this is your offer. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3, winner takes all.
Andrew Tate is a former kickboxing champion, has a big personality, and is the kind of guy who doesn't back down from a fight. He threw $3 million on the table, cash money, for Jake to step in the ring. But Jake? Nope. He decided to strategically decline. Why? Because it's too risky, pass. Why face someone who actually knows how to fight when you can just keep taking swings at retired athletes? And then there's Conor McGregor, a name so big it's practically synonymous with combat sports. But Jake decided to shut that door too. His excuse? Something about weight classes and McGregor being too scared? Really?
Hey, Amanda, Katie,
gigantic.
Conor, Jake. That's how Croke Park gets done. Because you need Conor. You need Conor.
Swear to
Conor,
God,
Jake.
You gave me chills. But it's
Conor,
not
Jake, Amanda.
UFC.
Because last time I checked, McGregor's been fighting in the UFC against some of the baddest men on the planet. Meanwhile, Jake's biggest claim to fame is knocking out a former basketball player and an MMA guy who probably hadn't thrown a punch in years.
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
But wait, it gets better. Floyd Mayweather, the undefeated legend who's not just great at boxing but also great at calling people out. And when it comes to Jake, Floyd isn't pulling punches.
Jake fought a guy who was his age and was also considered a boxer, and he lost. So if you can keep fighting 50-something-year-olds.
He flat out called Jake a cherry picker, accusing him of only fighting opponents he knows he can beat. Tyron Woodley? Ben Askren? A 58-year-old Mike Tyson? Yeah, Floyd sees through the act, and honestly, who doesn't at this point?
If you want to fight and you want to send a contract, send one to me. I will take a few weeks break from living my retired life to kick the living out of a goofy, entitled head like you.
And now, after ducking McGregor and Tate, Floyd's critique hits even harder. He's not just talking about Jake's fight choices. He's tearing into his entire career strategy. Floyd's over here saying this kid's making a mockery of boxing. And honestly, he's not wrong. While Floyd built his legacy fighting the best of the best, Jake's over here doing whatever it takes to avoid real fighters. It's like comparing filet mignon to a microwaved hot dog.
I think his strength is that people, for whatever stupid reasons, they underestimate him because of what his background was.
Right.
And they think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube.
And can we talk about these fight contracts Jake allegedly uses? The ones with clauses that supposedly limit his opponents? You know, the kind of stuff? If that's true, it's game over for any shred of credibility he had left. Because if you're writing the rules to guarantee you don't lose, then guess what? You're not really fighting. You're just playing pretend.
Is he someone you're interested in, or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework. Look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Floyd doesn't even need to fight Jake to destroy him. His words alone are enough to make Jake's carefully constructed image crumble. Floyd represents everything Jake isn't: discipline, skill, and a legacy built on merit. And when Floyd calls you out, the boxing world listens.
What he's doing, as long as they keep getting YouTubers and keep putting them in there with MMA guys, that's kind of over the hill, he's going to continue to shine.
So now Jake's stuck. He's too scared, or strategic as he calls it, to face legitimate threats. He's been publicly roasted by Floyd Mayweather, mocked by Conor McGregor, and rejected by fans who are sick of the circus act. The question isn't if Jake will fight a real opponent. The question is, can his career survive without the smoke and mirrors?
Well, X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script was actually leaked on X a few days ago.
Take the Mike Tyson fight, for example. Rumors are swirling that there was a clause banning Tyson, yes, Iron Mike, from throwing certain punches. Tyson, who's probably knocked out more people than Jake, has followers on his third-tier TikTok account, but is being restricted in the ring.
I believe that he was making the money he says he's making. Showtime Boxing wouldn't have gone out of business, and Showtime would have made sure they kept paying him.
But let's talk about why these allegations sting so much. Jake's entire brand, his whole thing, is built on being the rebel, the underdog, the guy who fights his way to the top. If it turns out his fights are rigged even a little, that whole narrative crumbles faster than his dignity at a Floyd press conference. It's not boxing anymore. It's performance art with boxing gloves.
As of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
And I don't think fans are noticing. The whispers about controlled outcomes are turning into full-blown shouts. People are starting to wonder, is Jake even capable of a real fight? Or is every opponent just carefully chosen to make sure his undefeated record stays intact? If the allegations are true, Jake's already shaky credibility might be heading for a total KO.